Cody was limping. It looked like his back and his legs, and I'm sure every part of him was hurting. And then Kevin Owens was coming back, and he was bleeding. He took that Alabama slam on the ladder, and I didn't watch it live, but I saw the clip of it, and I cringed. I absolutely cringed. He looked wrecked. Kevin Owens just was completely physically wrecked in that match. I don't care what you say, predetermined, scripted, whatever. This is as real as it gets, man. So the Royal Rumble 2025 is in the books, and Casey and I wanted to share some thoughts with you about an amazing event from Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis, Indiana. Not only was it the third largest gate in WWE history for a single-day event, over $18 million, but it also provided one of the greatest shocking endings to a Royal Rumble in history. And Casey, of course, you know the Royal Rumble is the beginning of the road to WrestleMania. And for the longest time, you could pretty much predict who was going to win, maybe between one or two or maybe three guys. Because, again, the favorite would be the most likely person to main event WrestleMania and go after the championship. But this year, quite a shock, as Jey Uso eliminates John Cena to win the Royal Rumble. When you heard the news, what were your initial thoughts?
I think John Cena is this kind of person too. I think it was a passing of the torch, passing it on to the next generation, like it was done to him. And, you've seen it, Hogan passing the torch to The Rock. I think it's another example of that, which, is the right thing to do.
It is John Cena's last Royal Rumble as he's on his retirement tour. And, of course, he's got all of this year to get every final memory out of his wrestling body. And again, he's still in tremendous shape. He looked fantastic. John Cena moved just like John Cena, like there was not any regression in his talent, ability, or skills. And there was a ton of star power in the match, no doubt about it. It got cooking. And man, there are some guys, Casey, that are over with a capital O. Because as soon as the music hit or whatever it was, wow, here they come. And the place is going banana, as Pat Patterson would say. It was fantastic.
When you were in the arena and that happened, which WWE superstar got the loudest pop when that music hit? Or shall we say the glass broke?
Yeah, it was Stone Cold, it was The Rock, and it was The Undertaker. In that order. The Rock and Stone Cold, one or two. One of the most heated segments I ever saw was the day after The Rock won the WWF Championship for the first time. He had won it at the Survivor Series in St. Louis, and Raw the next night was in Lexington, Kentucky at Rupp Arena. And Rupp Arena was where UK plays basketball. And you can legit put over 20,000 people in there. Now, with the stage and the curtain, that end was blocked off. They still had close to 20 in the building that night. And I have never, because they had betrayed, Rock had betrayed Mankind and sided with Mr. McMahon and the corporation to become the champion. So the first segment, after a new champion is crowned, historically, was Vince coming out and introducing the new champion. So Vince and all the corporation, Jerry Briscoe, Pat Patterson, etc., the big boss man, they all come down to ringside. They all get in the ring. They start the promo. And as soon as he introduces The Rock and the music hits, I didn't hear the pop. I'm standing in the arena. It wasn't something that I heard. It was something that I felt.
Yeah.
It was like a rushing wind blowing through from all of the atmosphere of the people putting off all this energy. I've never experienced anything like it before in my life. Yeah. It was heat personified, and people just felt like they were getting close to the ring. Even if they were still in their seats, their energy was moving towards the ring. And this was not the polished, finished product of The Rock. This was still... His promo was still developing.
Evolving, yeah.
Yeah, and oh my God, the heat and the energy. It was one of those things that I knew I needed to be in the arena for, not to just sit backstage and watch on a monitor or watch at the,
Right.
the set or in a pre-tape room. No, I wanted to be in the arena because I knew it was going to be something special, and it exceeded all of my expectations. I couldn't believe it.
Wow.
There were moments like that throughout the Royal Rumble when guys would come out. Even Joe Hendry, the TNA champion. We talked about that relationship with WWE and TNA here.
Mm-hmm.
My goodness. If you didn't know who Joe Hendry was, if you're a WWE fan, you immediately knew that this guy was super over and super
Wow.
important because the people went crazy when they heard him come out. It was amazing.
Wow.
And in the Women's Rumble, they had Jordan Grace, who they've just signed, so she's not going to be a part of TNA anymore, but she made her debut, and what a reception she got. And boy, did the wrestling pundits get this one wrong. And I don't know. There was all sorts of rumor, conjecture, and speculation that the WWE and Alexa Bliss were miles apart on money and she was not going to re-sign. When her music hit, holy moly, you'd have thought it was a second coming of Jesus Christ. They went crazy. And again, of course, if you make your living writing about the wrestling business and the behind-the-scenes things, there are times where you get them right and there are times where you get them wrong, and then there's times where you got played because they played floating out this fake story about Alexa Bliss not coming together, not being on terms with money. Holy moly, it was amazing.
How good is Charlotte Flair?
You can't, I don't know. It's just, there's some talents that are just so good, and she works so hard. My God, she works so hard. You see the workout, the time, effort, energy that she puts in. How about Natty Neidhart, who we both know? Just continuing 18 Rumbles she's been a part of. What a career. What an absolute legend. Trish Stratus looked amazing. Like it was the year 2000 again. This woman doesn't age. And on and on and on. Just all the talent that they have. I'll tell you this. And then, of course, that was in the middle. There was the tag team title match, which was a big surprise with Street Profits exerting their force and, affecting the outcome of the Motor City Machine Guns versus DIY match. Then it was Cody versus Kevin Owens for the title in a ladder match. Casey, you guys, what you do in wrestling, I can never fully quantify it as just an announcer. But have you ever been in a ladder match? Because I see them as eternally dangerous. They scare me.
Yeah, they are.
And I could not watch it. I had to shut it off. Not because I didn't enjoy it, but I'm so afraid that the guys that I personally know, and I personally know Kevin Owens and Cody Rhodes, I'm afraid of them getting injured. Talk to me about ladder matches that you've been in, and talk to me about the risk and the injuries that can be suffered in something like this.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a regular match. There's chances you're going to get hurt,
Right.
but when you add the elements of a big giant ladder and different gimmicks and stuff like that, it just increases it. And you're taking bumps now. It could be 20, 25 feet up when you can talk. When it falls over and you're going into the floor and everything. It's definitely, there's risk factors involved, and it doesn't feel good. But at the moment, they're all wanting to put the big production on with everything. So this is the price you pay later in your life. Sometimes you get hurt right then, but you definitely will feel all those bumps for years and years to come.
There was fan footage that was shot from above the entrance as both Cody Rhodes first and then Kevin Owens were making their way, and just to where they dipped behind the people. And Cody was limping. Cody was favoring. It looked like his back and his legs, and I'm sure every part of him was hurting. And then Kevin Owens was coming back, and he was bleeding. He took that Alabama slam on the ladder, and I didn't watch it live, but I saw the clip of it, and I cringed. I absolutely cringed. And he looked wrecked. Kevin Owens just was completely physically wrecked in that match. I don't care what you say, predetermined, scripted, whatever. This is as real as it gets, man.
Yes, sir.
In the week where we saw J.D. McDonough Looked like he nearly decapitated himself, going backwards, crashing into the announce desk. His head whipping back, and just all kinds of injuries suffered. That was, quote unquote, just a regular match. Now you add the extra elements of these steel ladders. The ladders aren't in the meetings, folks. These ladders don't know how to work. And
they're not forgiving.
No matter what planning and preparation you get, it's just, oof. I was happy when it was over. I was following it on Twitter because I'm looking even at Twitter with one eye, like, and okay, it's done. And now I can put the show back on. And then we went into the men's Royal Rumble.
Cody does really abuse his body for the business, though.
Yeah, he does. He gives everything. He gives everything in every facet of the business. He doesn't sleep. He doesn't stop. He's constantly promoting, and he's constantly trying to make fans' day, and he's constantly thinking and doing stuff. Might be the greatest, and again, he finished the story last year. But Cody Rhodes might be the greatest example of career renaissance that I can ever say. I've never known somebody who was down so far, left, came back, and has become the man in the industry the way he has. It's
have you
incredible.
Ever thought maybe he does this kind of stuff because he's thinking that he has to fill the shoes of his father, which was one of the greatest ever? American Dream, Dusty Rhodes.
Absolutely.
Those big shoes to fill.
Yeah. And you look at the pressure that Dustin felt. And Dustin has written extensively as of late, 18 years sober now. Yeah. And he wrote a big thing on Facebook under Dustin Rhodes, and I would suggest that everybody take a look at it. In the post,
I am so glad that he's doing well because I can't tell you how many phone calls I got that lasted hours when he wasn't.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, he was drinking vodka. He was taking 50 pills a
All
day.
The gimmicks.
Yeah, he was on everything. And the fact that he's still with us and has done a complete 180, turned his life completely around.
Yeah. And he looks good too.
Yeah, he's a year or two. I think he's 2 years younger than me, so I think he's 55.
Okay.
And he looks fantastic. He's in
better shape than he was ever.
Right. The trying to live up to what your father accomplished, I think it manifests itself in a couple of different ways. Was that one of the reasons why Dustin sank to the depths that he did? Was that one of the reasons that drove him to make this furious recovery? And did it drive Cody to every day try to do better and try to outdo himself yesterday? Maybe, perhaps. Again, when you live in that giant shadow, like you said,
there's a lot of them out there. I know it bothered Dusty a lot. Dustin would borrow. I'm not talking bad about him, and we're glad he's doing great. But he'd borrow money from guys, and Dusty would go behind him and pay it off, and give him the take care of him and everything. He was a good father. But we're glad that he's doing great and still at it, still able to be at it.
Dustin finally reached out when he'd hit rock bottom. Rock bottom's rock bottom. And he reached out to his father, and his father made the call, and WWE got him in rehab. And it was 30 days of detox, or whatever the period was, and then long period in recovery and managing his care for 18 years now. And again, it's an amazing Renaissance story. But going back to the Royal Rumble, when it got down to about the final 7 or 8, and you had just layer after layer after layer of top guy. You had Roman Reigns in there, who went in at number 16, and then Punk and Rollins and John Cena. And you had all of this, just, these are main eventers in WrestleMania, folks.
Oh, yeah.
And it was like a toss-up. And then you got Logan Paul, who comes in at number 30. And I don't care what anybody says about Logan Paul. That dude is awesome. What a physical specimen he is. And what a special cat.
Yeah, there's a few people that just catch on really quick, and he's caught on.
It got it in spades. So then the elimination by Punk of Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, That sets off a chain of events, and I think we're going to get a Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins WrestleMania match. That would just be my gut. AJ Styles eliminated by Logan Paul. I would not be surprised to see that. And by the way, AJ looked fantastic in his comeback match after injury.
Yeah, I seen the big headlines. He's back.
Yeah, he's had a couple of rough years. He broke a bone in his foot, the Liz Frank injury, which is a very small bone that connects a lot of things, and he had to recover from that. And so all of these things are happening, and then it comes down to Jey Uso and John Cena, and you could just about shut the TV off, man. I'm like, well, hell, this is kind of anticlimactic. John Cena's going to eliminate Jey Uso, and there's your WrestleMania main event. Oh, not so fast, my friend, as Lee Corso would say. Holy moly, what a shocker.
Yeah, Jey Uso is just over, isn't he?
He is.
Yeet! Yep, just another level now.
And it was the shock and the surprise. The victory made headlines. The look on John Cena's face. Production of WWE is second to none. We've talked about it here. And John Cena just simply got pushed off the apron and landed on 2 feet. And the look of shock and reality just came over his face all at once. And the collective gasp of 70,000 people. They couldn't believe it. They couldn't believe it. It was absolutely mind-blowing. I loved it. I'm sitting there on my couch, and I went, whoa!
Sometimes a simplistic finish is more meaningful than some complex one,
And why not? Why not Jey Uso? Why not? No matter what direction they're going to have him go now. And WrestleMania isn't set in stone because I know they have the Elimination Chamber coming up next. And they've got all these weeks of TV leading up to the WrestleMania event in Las Vegas. My wife and I were watching it, and she said to me, my goodness, look at all the Samoans in the ring. The whole family was there. It was it was one after the other because Jacob Fatu was in there wrecking shop for a while. He looked incredible. And you had Jey Uso and Roman Reigns, and you had just all of these guys. It was like at the beginning of the Rumble, it had a very strong lucha flavor with Rey Mysterio and Penta starting off. And then you had Andrade in there as well. So it was, plus all of the Samoans and the family, it was just like, it was what it, and Drew McIntyre. So you had wrestlers from Mexico, you had wrestlers from, Samoa, Samoan heritage. You had, who was the, because Joe Hendry was in there. You had him from Scotland. You had Drew McIntyre in there from Scotland. You got Finn Balor from Ireland. You got all of these stars from all over the world. It's a global brand. And I love the presentation of the WWE in a post-pay-per-view world where you went from match to pre-tape interview to match to pre-tape interview because you had a 3-hour window on pay-per-view. You had to get the whole show in. Now, they can take their time, but in between the matches, it has much more of a UFC feel where you can go, and they had big commercials in this, and they promoted Riyadh. They had commercials from Saudi Arabia. They had commercials for, the event that's coming up in Paris. They had all of these worldwide events. We're not playing Peoria, Illinois anymore, folks. We're playing the biggest venues all around the world.
Yeah.
And the global reach of WWE is unstoppable. It is undeniable, and it will not be equaled by anybody else, no matter what you say. They're just too big. They have too much horsepower, and the momentum will just continue to build. My hope and prayer, as Casey, I'm sure you feel the same way, is that everybody got out of last night, and they're able to move today. I'm sure guys are sore, banged up, beaten, bruised. But, man, just the hope that everybody comes out of these types of events uninjured is always what is at the center of my heart.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so that's our thoughts about the Royal Rumble. What are your thoughts? We'd love to hear. Some people are meh about Jey Uso. Some people really wanted John Cena to win. Some people really wanted CM Punk to win or Roman Reigns. What are your thoughts? Let us know. Share in the comments below. Like, share, subscribe, and continue to tell people all around the world about the In-Ring Wrestling Podcast. For Casey Thompson, I'm Kevin Kelly. We'll talk to you soon.